We are looking at one of the most powerful, calculated predators on Earth, the Burmese python. Hidden beneath the still waters of Southeast Asia, a silent giant waits, motionless, patient, and completely invisible. Just let that sink in for a second. This is the Burmese python. It literally commands the landscape without making a single sound. You know, when we picture giant snakes, our minds almost automatically drift toward ancient myths. For centuries, human civilizations have feared them, worshipped them, and transformed them into these legendary monsters. But the evolutionary reality, the actual science of what this animal is honestly far more fascinating. It isn't a monster. It is a masterpiece of evolution, built from the ground up for calculated survival. And the sheer scale we're talking about here, it's breathtaking. We're looking at an animal that regularly hits between 3 and 5 meters, but can stretch out to a terrifying 18 feet in length. Some of the exceptionally large ones weigh well over 90 kilograms. And here's the crucial point. Unlike venomous snakes that just rely on a toxic bite, the Burmese python depends on pure, unadulterated strength. Section 1, the invisible aquatic predator. So this giant commands a massive, sprawling empire. Its habitat ranges from the dense forests of Myanmar to the wetlands of Thailand, all the way through the river systems of Cambodia and the grasslands of Vietnam. But water is its absolute secret weapon. Its heavy body just glides effortlessly through these tropical aquatic landscapes, turning a massive terrestrial giant into a weightless phantom. They can actually stay completely submerged for shockingly long periods of time. Often, literally just their eyes and nostrils remain visible above the surface. To an unsuspecting animal coming down for a quick drink, the water appears completely calm, totally safe. But hidden just beneath that glassy surface lies one of the ecosystem's most lethal ambush predators. Section 2, engineered for the kill. Now, its skin creates this perfect camouflage, making it virtually invisible among the fallen leaves. But it's the biology of its bite that is truly terrifying. While a viper has fangs specifically designed to inject poison, our python has dozens of razor-sharp, backward-curving teeth. They function exactly like fishhooks. Once the prey is bitten, trying to pull away only drives those teeth in deeper. Escape is physically impossible. And that brings us to a massive myth we really need to bust right now. We always hear that pythons crush their prey, right? Breaking bones with brute force or suffocating them. Actually, scratch that, it's entirely wrong. Constriction is an incredibly precise, engineered interference with blood circulation. It uses hundreds of perfectly calculated muscle movements, perfected by millions of years of evolution, to simply stop the heart from pumping. Section 3, the science of stillness. Out in the wild, wasting energy literally means starvation. So unlike a cheetah that relies on blistering speed, the python plays a completely different game. Absolute stillness. It can remain completely motionless for hours, sometimes even days. But beneath that still exterior, it's constantly gathering invisible sensory inputs. It feels tiny ground vibrations. It detects minute changes in air movement. It captures microscopic chemical particles. You've seen it, the python's forked tongue flickering repeatedly in the dark. What's happening there is each flick is collecting those microscopic scent particles, drawing them back into a highly specialized sensory organ right in the roof of its mouth. These systems paint a detailed three-dimensional picture of the surrounding world, even in absolute darkness. Even when the prey is completely out of sight, the python knows exactly where it is, and it waits. Section 4, the perfect ambush. Let's set the scene. Evening approaches, and the jungle begins to cool. Picture a young wild pig just wandering slowly toward a muddy riverbank. It is entirely unaware that danger is only meters away. Hidden among the thick reeds, the giant snake is watching. The pig takes one step closer, then another. The minutes just tick by in agonizingly slow motion. The python remains completely still. Its camouflage is flawless, its powerful body tense with anticipation. The distance shrinks. The pig takes one final, fateful step into the strike zone. The tension reaches its absolute peak. Then, suddenly, the forest explodes with motion. The python launches forward, which, by the way, is astonishingly fast for a 90-kilogram animal. In a fraction of a second, those backward curving teeth slam into the prey, securing it in an iron grip. A frantic struggle begins. But honestly, the outcome has already been decided. Almost instantly, thick, powerful coils wrap around the victim's body. The prey fights, but every single time it exhales, the giant predator tightens its grip just a tiny fraction more, taking up the slack, locking it down. Again, it's not crushing bones, it's not suffocating, blood circulation simply stops. Within minutes, the immense pressure prevents the heart from pumping blood. The body shuts down, the hunt is over. It is a flawless execution by one of nature's greatest, most patient predators. So, what does this all mean for us? Well, it leaves us with this final, kind of chilling thought. We live our lives rushing from one moment to the next. But in a world built entirely on speed, what else is waiting in the silence? The Burmese python reminds us that sometimes the most immense power in nature isn't the fastest. It's the one that knows exactly breath. Today, we're going to uncover the biological empire of the Burmese python. And as you'll see, this creature's true mastery isn't really just about brute strength. No, it's about a mathematically precise, astonishingly tuned biological system. The hunt is over. But really, the story is only beginning. You know, out in the wild, a kill usually brings panic, right? There's this urgent rush to consume the meal before the scavengers show up. But for the Burmese python, there is absolutely zero urgency, only a slow, chilling precision. What follows the kill is an anatomical feat that very few creatures in the natural world can pull off on such a massive scale. To achieve the seemingly impossible act of swallowing an entire animal whole, the python relies on some incredible biological engineering. Their jaws are totally different from ours. They're unfixed, engineered for extreme expansion, and held together by elastic ligaments. The skull literally separates. It just systematically walks its mouth right over the prey, left side, right side, step by step, inch by inch, enveloping its meal without a single ounce of panic. As the prey disappears into the dark, the whole nature of the event changes. This isn't violence anymore. This is transformation. The sheer mechanical effort stops, and the python becomes perfectly still once again. But beneath that silent, motionless exterior, a massive conversion of a living organism into raw energy has just been triggered. The forest returns to silence, sure, but inside the snake, a hyper-accelerated biological machine is just waking up. Section 1, the engine of digestion. So on the outside, the python now appears totally dormant, almost sluggish. But that stillness is a complete illusion. Inside, an extreme biological event is underway. In its normal state, a python has a notoriously slow metabolism. It's highly energy efficient with normal-sized organs. But after a massive meal, its physiology drastically shifts within a matter of hours. Its metabolism accelerates to unbelievable levels. The digestive organs physically grow in size. Even the heart itself expands just to pump the massive amount of blood required for this undertaking. It devotes literally every ounce of its energy to life support. What happens next is a display of sheer, terrifying power. Incredibly potent enzymes flood the stomach, acids strong enough to completely dissolve bone, muscle, fur, the whole shebang. Over days of utter inactivity, an entire large mammal is broken down into raw nutrients. It is survival at its most ruthlessly efficient, leaving virtually zero waste behind, maybe just rare traces of hair or teeth. Honestly, compared to mammalian biology, it's an awe-inspiring level of evolutionary perfection. Moving on to Section 2, the price of power. But nature always exacts a toll, doesn't it? As the text perfectly puts it, every advantage carries a risk. Every strength creates a weakness. During these weeks of internal explosion, one of the most powerful snakes in the world becomes incredibly vulnerable. It's slow, heavy, and totally exposed. It has almost no active defense, relying entirely on absolute stillness and camouflage to hide from crocodiles, wild boars, or humans. It's the ultimate balance of nature. Which brings us to Section 3, growing into a giant. Now, this terrifying power isn't just handed out at birth. It is earned over a lifetime. It starts out as something incredibly fragile. A hatchling emerges from an egg no larger than a standard chicken's, measuring barely 40 centimeters. With zero guidance, its survival depends entirely on instinct, hunting tiny frogs and rodents. But here is the secret weapon of the reptile. Unlike us mammals, they never truly stop growing. Muscle thickens, scales harden, and their mass just keeps increasing year after year, slowly transforming that fragile little hatchling into a true giant. Let's look at Section 4, the biology of patience. This continuous growth requires something far more valuable than just food. It requires time. In the brutal ecosystem of the jungle, the python can live for up to 25 years. And this creates a really brilliant contrast in survival strategies. Fast-living predators rely on speed, high energy, and rapid reproduction. But the python? The python invests in the long game. It doesn't rush, it doesn't waste energy, it waits. Patience isn't just a behavior for them. It is a carefully tuned biological tool designed to conserve life over decades.
And that brings us to Section 5, the maternal guardian. This long-term strategy extends to a very rare form of reptilian behavior, bringing life into the world. During breeding season, a female lays a staggering clutch of up to 100 eggs. And, totally defying the image of a cold, solitary predator, she doesn't just abandon them. Instead, she tightly coils her massive body right around the nest. Through a process known as temperature regulation, the mother undergoes a stunning sacrifice. For weeks, she stops eating entirely. Instead, through subtle, continuous muscle twitches, she literally acts as a biological heater. The powerful, energy-conserving hunter suddenly transforms into an active guardian, burning through her own energy reserves to incubate her young and make sure they develop properly in the wild.
Finally, Section 6, the cycle begins again.
After weeks of fasting, tiny cracks finally appear on those leathery eggs. A new generation of silent hunters slides out into the dark jungle. But the world is immediately unforgiving for a snake this small. These hatchlings face an instant gauntlet. You've got birds of prey circling above, wild mammals foraging on the ground, and even larger reptiles. Many of them simply won't survive their perilous first year. So we're left with a lingering question. Out of a clutch of up to 100, which of these fragile hatchlings will actually survive that gauntlet? Only the strongest and most adaptable will inherit this incredible biological empire, eventually growing into the silent, patient giants that command our deepest fears and our utmost fascination. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer as we unravel the extraordinary biology of the Burmese python.